Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger, and of course, welcome back to another FIFA 14 coach video. Today, we're continuing, of course, our adventures as the manager of Blackpool. And before we begin, we're actually going to take a look at some of our inbox. Of course, I'm going to be talking about a topic that was brought on by you guys, so don't forget, after you watch the video, or as you're watching it throughout, or maybe even just right now, in the comment section below, you can leave suggestions for any topic under the sun. And I guess over even the sun, because we could talk about space at some point. And of course, you could go ahead and leave any type of topic or request or anything like that that you guys would like to see me talk about. So that being said, I also wanted to apologize for the audio in the first episode. I really don't know what happened, but in the conversion process, after I deleted the raw footage file, I realized that there was audio glitch where I was talking like this and I couldn't fix it, but I felt like the video was still a fun video and it had a really interesting discussion, so that's why I went ahead and still uploaded it for you guys, and it seemed like you guys enjoyed it, so I do appreciate that a ton. So it looks like Tom Barkhuizen, or maybe it's Barkhuizen, asked us if he may get a chance to play, so maybe we will let him substitute into late game today. So now, let's see, before we continue forwards, I think what we could do is, no instructions defined. I don't even know. Okay, we have a budget of $4 million, which is not a lot to play with, obviously, and I don't know if we want to be buying anybody right now. I almost kind of would like to probably just get some scouting agents. I think that that might be the best thing that we could make a decision on right now, at least. Let's see. When you go to Central, scouts are available. Okay, so let's go over here and let's see which scouts we've got here. Wow, those are not very good scouts, obviously, as you can see. Is ready for missions. Oh, yo. That is not good. Okay. So, view scout report. Let's see what he's been able to find for us. He hasn't been able to find any players. That's great. Okay, so they're all still searching. So for now, let's go ahead and scout somebody out who is a very, very high-leveled scout. Ooh, okay. I think, well, let's hire this guy. Atu Koskinen. Very cool name there. Like that name for sure. Now, I'll give you guys a preview. We're going to be talking today about weather, and more specifically, the winter weather, because a lot of people wanted me to talk about the storms and things like that that are going on everywhere, and just what do I think of winter? Do I like it? Do I not like it? Do I like warm weather? Do I like hot weather? Etc. And next time, we're probably going to get to a little bit more of a serious topic again. But that being said, today we're going to be playing against Española. I was going to say Espanol, but maybe it's Española, I'm assuming, because of the A at the end. And it's a friendly match, so let's get rocking and let's get rolling, and hopefully we'll be able to score ourselves a victory. So there we are. Going to go ahead and let's get rocking. So let's see, what kind of a outfit are they using, or kit, I should say. I guess we'll use the white one because it's going to stand out a little bit better in terms of colors and differentiating players. So, the weather. Let's talk about it, shall we? So the winter weather, do I like it? Do I not like it? For those of you that don't know, of course, I reside in Canada, which means that we get a lot of cold weather. Well, I reside on the East Coast in Canada, so we get a lot of cold weather. If you live on the West Coast, you get not a lot of cold weather, and the really worst things you get is like really a little bit of snow, I think. At least in my experience. In Vancouver, you don't really get crazy snowstorms. But for example, in the area in which I live in, which is called Ontario, it's a province, which is equivalent to a state if you're from the United States. Over here, we just had weather of negative 34, and I think there was a wind chill also. So it was close to negative 40, I think. Very cold, let's put it that way. But I don't know why I appreciate the cold weather. I think it might have something to do with the fact that I grew up in a country that was that has very hot weather all the time in the Middle East. So I might have kind of underestimated, or appreciated, I should say, cold weather for that, because I like the change of patterns. I like the change of seasons and everything like that. But I also feel like you appreciate hot weather when you know what cold weather is like. I think that I appreciate the summer way more than I would if I did not know what it is when you have negative 30 temperatures outside. I think that ooh, careful. Let's get the ball. Let's get the ball. I think that really does affect your perception of weather and your appreciation of warmth when you know what it's like to be really, really, really cold. And I mean like what I'm talking about. Negative 30, negative 40, like really cold temperatures, you know? The kind of temperatures where you are wearing like 3 pairs of pants and 2 pairs of gloves and it's still cold. So, I mean, it's cold. It gets cold every now and then, and especially for me, when I have to walk my dog, it's like I don't get to make a decision whether or not I want to go out there. I have to go out there. I dress up my dog. He has his own winter boots and jacket and everything, and then I dress myself up and we go out there, and and I got to walk him, you know, for 10, 15, 20 minutes sometimes until he doesn't do his business. I got to stay out there no matter what. So I know what it's like to be very, 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 very cold. Even without even wanting to be cold sometimes. But then when I walk back in, it's just this awesome feeling of kind of like, you know, you get warm again, and then you get some tea, and then I don't know. I like the cold weather for many reasons. I like the cold weather for the feeling that you get like when you, well, let's say when you're on your way home from school or wherever it is, work, school, whatever it is that made you go outside the home or outside the house, or maybe from a party or from a friend's house or whatever it is. But when you're traveling, especially if you're not traveling by car, in terms of like you don't have personal transportation, you actually had to walk a certain distance, let's say to a bus station or from a bus station, etc. You're kind of like hoping for that moment when you get home. And you know that when you get home, you're going to pour yourself a nice cup of tea or coffee or whatever it is, along with maybe some cake or something to go along with that. And it's just that awesome feeling of feeling cozy and stuff like that. And you don't get that feeling ever, in my opinion, in the summer. Like, as much as it is sometimes hot and you're like, oh, I'm going to get home and I'm going to turn on the air conditioner and have a cup of cold lemonade or something like that. I don't feel like that feeling is ever equivalent. By the way, our Fuller scores. Boom! Look at this. He steals the ball. Tricks him, bam, right into the bottom corner, slats it in like a boss. Nicely done. Alrighty, and Blackpool is 1 up, and hopefully we'll be able to maintain this great momentum that we've got so far, and into the actual season, because winning friendly matches is great and all, but obviously we want to be winning the big ones as well. La, 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 la. Ooh, what a pass! What a pass! And he shoots! Oh, misses just a little wide there. Just a wee bit wide. Oh my goodness, that was nice though. Alrighty, so yeah, to me, that's really what it comes down to about weather. So I guess now we could discuss another topic, and another topic that was brought on by you guys, and that was the topic of the U.S. economy. So a little bit more of a serious topic. And what do I think about it? I think that overall, in the big picture, it's not as bad as people make it out to be. It's not great, obviously. It's not good to have a ridiculous amount of debt that they do have. And it's an unmanageable amount at this point. At least I think so. I mean, I really don't think that there's any way to, in a reasonable way, lose that much debt in the kind of amount of time that they want to do it. But my thing is, I want to talk in particular about kind of the idea of, like, one thing that I feel deters a lot of the economy is legal stuff. And what I mean by that is, like, yes, it's absolutely paramount to have a legal system in place and have laws in place, because we don't want to be an uncivilized and barbaric society and everything. We want to have rules, and we want to have certain regulations and make sure that people don't cheat, and so that if you, let's say you have an idea or something, that was a beautiful shot, not really, but of course if you have an idea, so that nobody comes by and just completely steals it from you and takes it away from you. But at the same time, I feel like there's been a bad trend, and actually Barack Obama just recently talked about this with patents and patent trolls, and the fact that there's a ridiculous amount of people who file these patents and then sue big companies, small companies, medium companies for ideas that they never executed on. And I feel like that's the thing about business and everything, is like there's a big difference between having an idea and executing an idea. Because if you have an idea but you never ever actually go after it, how much, to what extent is that really your idea? Do you know what I mean? And there's a big issue with it in terms of the fact that you could make the argument that a lot of times the small guy, a small business or something like that, may not be able to execute an idea because they don't have the funds or something like that. And therefore, does that mean that now nobody can have ideas except for the people who obviously can execute them and bring them to life, etc.? But I think that that argument kind of falls apart when you think about the fact that how many businesses have been built by small guys and by guys who just went out there and convinced investors of their ideas. And I think that's the key, really. It's unfair to say that someone's idea is their idea even though they never ever brought it to life. And like, for example, if you were to be the first person who said, "Ooh, I thought of spaceships," and then you just filed a patent for it, but you never ever did anything with it, and then you see somebody actually who's like, "I'm gonna build a spaceship," and they build it and everything, and then you come along and say, "Well, I want 25% of your spaceship, or everything that your spaceships make," and you're like, "Wait a minute, why? On what basis are you gonna get 25%? Well, because a few years ago, I actually came up with spaceships. I just never built them," and that's the issue. It's like, you want to protect your ideas, but now the idea of copyright and patent law and things like that in the United States, and I think that it does hurt the economy, and it hurts the economy overall in terms of just how much money is just consistently exchanged in absolutely benign and useless legal battles, and battles that don't provide any type of innovation or forward movement or forward thinking for the economy of the United States, which was built on that. It was built on innovation, on people who thought outside the box, and on people who could do the things that in other countries maybe there was too much regulation to do. And now it's becoming the same in the United States, where there is all these kind of like red tape and all this stuff that you need to go about. But one thing that, again, I know that I'm jumping a little bit here, but one thing in particular is that I feel like copyright law and patents and everything has begun to be used like swords instead of shields. It's supposed to be a protective measure, not an offensive measure. And the problem with patent trolls and people like that is that they use it as an offensive measure and nothing but that. And what that does is it also hurts the innovation level in the country, and it prevents innovation to take place, which then means that obviously one of your big sources of income and one of your big sources of prosperity to the economy, which is innovation and creating, whether it be new forms of energy or new forms of technologies or new forms of communication, new forms of anything, whatever it may be that we're talking about. Of course, you could make the case that there's been a lot of innovation in computerization and things like that, which is great, but there's a lot of interesting points made by this one guy called Peter Thiel, who is a co-founder of PayPal, who argues that innovation has actually slowed down tremendously in a lot of other areas and a lot of other industries. So that would include things like clean energy and medical innovation, or biology, or a lot of chemistry innovation and things like that. And a lot of that has been caused by regulation and legal kind of red tape that is preventing a lot of people from innovating and incentivizing, like creating an incentive to innovate. It's no longer looked upon as such a prosperous thing because it's so expensive to go through all these legal battles and things like that. So I find that that is definitely something that needs to be addressed within the economy in order to kind of set back the, or get back to the idea of a more innovative culture, and a culture that kind of awards innovation and promotes innovation, and not just verbally, but actually executing on that. Because I think the Boston Consulting Group did an actual study recently about the importance of innovation worldwide. It was like a worldwide study, and all companies said that innovation is so important, blah, 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 and they kind of argue that. But then I think that saying that innovation is important and actually executing on innovation is completely two different things. Because, I mean, it's like actions speak louder than words, right? It's the exact same kind of idea here, where you can say that a thing is important. That was a really good shot. I wish we would have scored there. Would have been nice. Look at that. Bam! Just above the crossbar. Well, maybe actually it was quite a bit above the crossbar. It looked like it was close. Maybe it wasn't. But that was a nice run. So, yeah, I think that would definitely help the economy to maybe not get all the way back, but it would definitely be a good backbone support if there was a form of some way of maybe figuring out, like, instead of allowing somebody to patent the idea of, like, I don't know. I overall don't particularly like the idea of patents, but if... of course, you still want to have a system in place allowing people to protect their intellectual properties, which is copyright law, but allowing people to protect their ideas and inventions and things like that. You can definitely do that, but maybe do it in a way where instead of allowing people to just patent an idea, maybe there's a better way of patenting the actual executed prototype or something, so that you can actually see that that person has not only thought of this, that they've actually gone out and built this thing and made it into something tangible, or if it's a service, an intangible, but still a completed product, so that you could actually make a case for it to be an idea that belongs to that person. My goodness! We were offside, just barely, but a little offside, unfortunately. Oh, I almost got the ball there. Almost got the ball. Come on! So yeah, that would be my my argumentation point on that. I think that it is something that will help. As far as other things in the economy, like real estate and banks and everything, I feel like there is a lot of things that are weird in the economy, but I think it's caused by the society more so than the economy, in terms of things like ridiculous salaries and you know, like where, let's say, a janitor in a company is going to be earning, let's say, $50,000 or $40,000 a year, right? Or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what kind of salaries you would earn in that position. But then the CEO of the company is earning $50 million with bonuses and everything. I think that gap is a little bit too wide, because as much as the CEO's responsibility is obviously to provide a job for that person who's being a janitor and everything, I think that there needs to be found a little bit of a better balance of kind of not creating such a huge difference between the rich and the poor, or the lower class, or something like that, you know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying that people who are working as janitors are poor or anything like that. Please don't take that out of context. All I'm saying for this... Oh! Whoa! And he shoots! Oh! That would have been nice. That would have been a nice goal. But what I'm saying is that it's unfair that there is such a... Not just unfair, I just think it's not beneficial to a prosperous society to have such a big, ginormous gap, which is why a lot of people always, of course, argue about the importance of the middle class and how important it is to have a strong middle class, because when you have a strong middle class, guess what? The economy, for some reason, is prospering. And that's a trend that has been proven to be true. So it's obvious that it has value and validity. So I think that that's the case here as well. It's like it's not normal for the wage and the salary to be so different that, yes, you can argue that there's different responsibility levels for one person versus another and everything, but I think that it should be a difference, of course, because you should be rewarded for the risk that you're taking as the CEO, but it shouldn't be such a great difference. Golazo! What a goal from Basham! Oh yeah, I forgot, we needed to bring in that guy, didn't we? And you guys told me to do some team management, which I completely always forget about. But, what was his name? It's like Burkowski or something? I can't recall what his name was. I feel bad for him. Was it Bishop, actually? Was it Bishop? It was something with a B, so I'm assuming it was this fella right here. Or maybe it's this, actually, right here. Burkowski Harris was maybe his name. Oh, my goodness. Okay, let's bring this central midfielder. I don't particularly want to bring him in. Okay, let's see. Whoa. Okay. Yep. We could definitely use him there. Probably could actually use some strikers too, because all of our players are pretty slow at this point. So let's see. Striker. Do we have a striker? We do have a striker. There's a 69 ratings. That's pretty good. Let's see. A left winger. We only have midfielders, which is not great. Okay, let's get this guy in there. Alrighty, sweet. So let's resume the match. Let's carry on after that sweet goal. Look at this. Boom! Shoots it right past the goalie. Nicely done. What a golazo. Right square in the middle of the net. That was a good goal. Alrighty. Look at that. We've got some nice sponsors there. Wonga. That's a nice name. I like that. Wonga. That's a cool name. So yeah, I think that overall, there's definitely steps that can be taken to fix things. And, I mean, there's a lot of that whole conversation about differences in salary and everything is like I could probably make a whole video just on that. Because, I mean, I just find it to be weird. Like, I know that if I were to ever be a CEO or own a big company or anything like that, I never want to, like, I would never want to allow myself to take a salary that would, you know, where I could be making 1,000 times as much as the lowest paid person in the company, because there's no way that my responsibility level is 1,000 times higher than that person's, or my importance, or whatever it may be, you know? I think that oftentimes, especially in big, huge companies, like, yes, the CEO is important because it's kind of like the public figure for the company, but at the end of the day, you have a vice president of like everything and a CEO of everything else, where it's like a chief marketing officer, chief accounting officer, chief financial officer. There's like all these people who take a lot of your responsibilities that traditionally you have if you're a small size business, and they take all those responsibilities onto themselves, which then means that your job is really just kind of managing this incredible machine and making sure that it stays the course and continues to make money and profit and satisfying the shareholders and things like that. So that being said, there you guys have it. That concludes another episode of FIFA 14 Coach. If you guys enjoyed it, please smash that like button. We got ourselves another W, which is pretty sweet. So another victory for us. Pretty fantastic. Looks like Chris Basham was the man of the match, which is good. Player on our side, so that's sweet. And that being said, of course, guys, don't forget to smash that like button, share the video with your family and friends, and favorite the videos as well. And of course, leave it in the comment section below any type of topic that you would like for me to talk about. It could be anything under or above the sun, of course. That could include anything from last week's topic, which was Justin Bieber and his arrest, and celebrity kind of responsibilities, to this week's topic, which was the economy, and was also the, what did I talk about early on? The winter weather, the appreciation of cold, and how I think that it is important, because I don't know. I feel like people who are also in the cold environments, like, you kind of become like a tougher person, because you know that for 3 months a year you have to fight Mother Nature. You know, it's like this really kind of like a hardening process, you know, to your personality. So that being said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out, see you later. Thanks all for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out, see you later, alligators. I said that like 3 times, but don't tell anybody.